Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's Kaylee of Kaylee Plans, and today I am going to be teaching you guys how I make these really awesome DIY dashboards using Canva. This is a totally free software. It doesn't require anything but you making a profile to be able to save your designs, but other than that, it's completely free to use everything that I'll be showing you today. Now there are options on there to upgrade with Canva, and this is not in any way a paid advertisement. I have just been asked quite a few times how I make my dashboards, so I figured that I would show you guys my process, and so stay tuned to figure out how I DIY'd this super cute dashboard. Okay guys, so in the description box I'm going to have a full list of all the materials that I use to make this DIY project. I also will give you some cheaper alternatives at the end of this video as well. But this is the website that you will be using. Now you could do this on your phone with the Canva app, or you can go directly to canva.com on your desktop like I did. I'm just doing it on my desktop because obviously it's going to be something that's going to be getting printed, so it's just a little easier to already be on your computer. Now there are a million different preset options. As you can see here, I just scroll through them. I like to use the Instagram stories templates to make my dashboards. But you could find pretty much any template you want as long as you're able to resize it without distorting your images too much. But I feel like the Instagram stories ones are a little bit elongated, so when you kind of squish them smaller, they tend to not distort your images as much as some of the other templates do. So I just went ahead and selected a pretty minimalistic template here, and as you can see, there actually are always a few different options for a certain aesthetic, so you could do like multiple stories back to back if you needed to on Instagram. So just make sure to choose the ones that you like the best. Obviously you could choose the same exact template for the front and the back of the dashboard, or you could choose two different ones like I do in my video here. So I'm just showing you the different editing tools that the app uses, because this is kind of like their in-website app here. And you just go ahead to upload either your own photos, or you could use their stock photos. They have some really beautiful free stock photos that I've used before for dashboards. So another thing you could do is get them from Pinterest or wherever, honestly, wherever you want, like feel like you want to get your pictures from. I'm just using my own photos. Well, they aren't technically my own photos, but our photos from our engagement photo shoot to make a new dashboard, because our wedding is now only 3 months away, like 3.5 months away, 4 months. So it's coming up, and I just want to like bask in the remainder of being engaged. So as you can see, you can kind of edit and crop your image however you want. Some of the nice features that you have there are the ability to adjust brightness and all those other things like you would edit any photo. Obviously, since this one already has kind of the aesthetic that I'm going for, I'm just going to keep them how our photographer edited them, which really was a look that we were going for anyway. Here I'm showing you to be mindful when cropping, because it will change the template itself. And then I have a hard time getting it to go back after I show you guys how to do that. But you can always just hit the back button. And so then I'm just going to upload two more images so that I finish this dashboard here. then once everything is looking good, I save it as a JPG and a JPG file, and then I will open up Microsoft Word or whatever like documenting or what's the word? What is the word? You know what I mean. Whatever different Microsoft Word softwares there are out there. Open it up, open a new blank project, and then you can import your image. And so I use A6 rings planners, but just go through and measure a pre-existing dashboard that you have to figure out what size you need to adjust your dashboard to be. So it defaults it to like 9 inches, which is way too tall for an A6 planner. So I just go through and add the proper dimensions. And like I said, sometimes it's not perfect because it is a template. So like sometimes you're gonna have to distort the images just a little bit. But I think that, you know, as long as you mess around with it, you'll get a pretty good feel for, like, see it right there, like it looks way out of proportion, but obviously then I have to fix the height and everything like that. So just mess around with it until you get like a good proportion. Once you laminate it, it's gonna add some extra like centimeters as well, so don't forget to consider that. You could even go a little bit smaller when you're cropping your dashboard, just because you could always make the plastic, you know, be all the way to the size that the dashboard needs to be, and you'll see what I mean by that when you see me laminate this dashboard later on. Another trick that I use because I wanted this dashboard to be white is make a black box to go behind it, so that way it makes it easier later on when I try to cut it out. I know exactly where the borders end, because currently if I was to print this as is, you would only see the pictures. You wouldn't see the lines for where you would need to cut for the dashboard. So what I did was make this square here, the size of the dashboard, and then I just placed it behind the image and made sure to move the image to the front. That way it would, actually I'm lying. I think that I had to make the box no fill, so that way I could just place it over the template, because for whatever reason I wasn't able to like pick it up or change the wrap for it. Normally you could change it so that you can like move it, but I don't know why, for whatever reason. Maybe because of the way that I saved it as a JPEG. I mean, maybe there's a different filing system I should be saving it under. I'm not too sure. But when you are placing this rectangle, your cutting guide basically, which is what this rectangle is going to be used for, you want to make sure that you're mindful of where the holes are going to be punched. So you don't want to put the image all the way to the edge that you're going to be punching the holes through. Otherwise, you're going to be punching your holes through your image. So since this dashboard that I'm printing right here is going to be the front, I wanted to make sure that I gave myself a good border on the left side of this dashboard, so that way when I punch my holes, it's not going through my image at all. So once everything is lined up and is looking good, I go ahead and print out the first image. And I have some issues with my printer, like trying to do this, of course, whenever I try to do a video. It's just always something. So it takes a minute for like this to actually print through. But once I do that, I'll go ahead and design the second dashboard the exact same way, save it as a JPEG again, and insert it into this Word document the exact same way that I just did this one. Thing to note when you're doing the back side of your dashboard is just to remember to invert the side that you're going to be leaving space for the holes. So since this is the back side, I want the right side to have some extra space to get hole punched. The next step is just going to be to use our black box as cutting guidelines for our dashboard. So here you can see I am just quickly cutting out each dashboard using those guidelines, and then all I'm going to do is glue these two dashboards together using a regular old Elmer's glue stick, and so you guys will see me do that right here. So welcome back. Please excuse the the nail change. I had to buy a new laminator because my other one actually like almost caught fire. So I had to buy a new one, and things have kind of opened up, so I was able to get my nails done. So please ignore the nail shift. But what I've done so far is basically put my new dashboard, now that it's completely dry because it's been a couple of days now, put my dashboard into a normal 8.5 by 11 or letter size laminator paper, and then I just cut it with about 1 inch of overhang to be, just because I think that's why my other one actually caught on fire, was because I had too much plastic going through the laminator, and so I think that's what happened. So to kind of avoid that problem, I cut most of the plastic off, and I'm going to stick this in here. I'm going to put it really close to the top edge, so it's like one less side that I have to cut, and then the same with putting it the longer edge along the seam, so it's a shorter angle that I have to cut later. So I'm just gonna wait for this laminator to heat all the way up, and then we'll go ahead and run this through the laminator machine. Now, while that is heating up though, I did want to talk about the hole punch that I am using. This is the Rapsco 6-hole punch, and so I got this off Amazon, and everything it will be linked below. But the really nice thing about this one is that you can cut a bunch of different sizes. So pocket, mini, agenda, and A6, A5 personal, etc. So it's a really good bang for your buck, because you guys know that I use a couple different sizes, but I can use the same paper or hole punch for everything. So this is a really great product. I would recommend. It's a little bit on the pricier side for a hole punch, but I would definitely recommend it because you can use it for a lot of different purposes. It's very versatile. So Okay guys, so now that my laminator is ready, I just decided to add a little cross to the bottom of this page because I felt like it was a little bit empty. But whenever you're about to put your thing, whatever it is, through the laminator, make sure there's no like dust or anything stuck to your pages, because it will be permanently part of it come laminator time. So when you are running it through the laminator, you want to make sure that this seam, sorry, I should probably put it in focus, but that this seam down here is what's going through first. And let's just straighten it out a little. And then just wait for it to come through. Hopefully it doesn't catch on fire. Okay, here she comes. Okay, so now that it is all laminated and shiny and good to go, I like to just push out any little areas where there could be air bubbles, and because now is the time to try to get them out. That off, and then get out our paper cutter. Okay, so there she is, all laminated up and ready to go. So the last step is to hole punch. And there she is, all hole punched, and there's the back side. So I am glad that I moved that crossover because it would have gotten punched. And then we can just pop it into our planner. So, I think I'm gonna put it at the beginning of October, because that is when we're getting married. And that's what it looks like inside of my planner. So it does stick out a little farther. And it does have squared off corners. I kind of want to round these off, but I'm afraid. I don't think I will. The last time I rounded off corners with something that was laminated, it was not a good end result. But that is what this dashboard looks like. I would maybe go a little smaller for the next one to account for the edges of the laminator that kind of like knocked it over just a smidge, because it actually would be the right size. Like the paper itself is the right size, but it's the laminator sheet itself. So if you can just take it in like, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, that would probably be enough to make it like the perfect size. I don't mind that it sticks out a little bit. It's just a reminder of just how close we are to the wedding, which is just a small 4 months away, hoping that everything opens up again and we can have our wedding without a hitch, because I'm excited. So that is how I make my dashboards using Canva. I hope that this tutorial helped you guys kind of understand how I've made my other dashboards in the past. I don't have any homemade ones in here because I do keep this one very minimalistic. But in my pocket rings, I love to make them all the time, especially because it is using less ink and everything like that. But I just really love the ability to be able to make a really personalized dashboard, and something that you can really just customize very simply. You saw I was using a regular ass printer, like a literal inkjet printer, not even anything like fancy, and a hole punch machine, a paper cutter, which you could just use scissors instead. And then if you don't have a laminator, you could honestly use packing tape and like 2 big strips of it, which would cover it, and then you don't need a laminator. And then you could honestly just use a single hole punch, which you could get from like the dollar store. That's where I got this one from. It's not the best, as you can hear, but you could like mark where the holes need to go and then just individually hole punch each one, if you don't want to fork up the money for a hole puncher. But if you do have a rings planner, it definitely opens a lot of possibilities, because you could then, you know, print off your own inserts and things like that. But yeah guys, that is how I make my dashboards. Like this video if you like this video, comment if you have any questions down below, and feel free to subscribe if you like these types of videos. I always try to do different planner related videos. I switch it up every now and then just to kind of show you guys how versatile it really can be to use planners or notebooks and things like that, and all the different things you can do with them. So if you have any questions about planners or journals, I've probably tried every single type of planner and journal there is out there, so I could give you guys lots of advice. So on that note, I hope to see you guys next time. Please stay safe, and Black Lives Matter.